It's time for another Dice Tower review with Z. Garcia.
Hey folks, today I'm taking a look at Frog Menu. This is a set collection, sort of tile collection game from Spain in which you are frogs and you are trying to collect the most insects, the specific insects you want, and score the most points by moving on this tile layout that you'll be building on the board. It's a very simple design. It's a pretty straightforward concept. Let me show you how it works, and then I'll tell you if it's a good one. Here we go. Here's what the board looks like set up for 4 players. These are shuffled and randomly laid out. With fewer players, you would put out fewer of these tokens. It would be a 6x6 or a 7x7 grid for 2 or 3 players respectively. Each player has a frog that they will be playing, and so you will put that in front of yourself, and each player has a matching pawn, which will go on the board itself. Also, at the beginning, we shuffle up some special tiles, and everybody takes 2 of them, so I'm going to just randomly give everybody here 2, and the rest are just set aside. The objective of the game, of course, is to have the most victory points, and you are going to be doing that by eating these insects with your frogs until you can no longer move. The game's over when no one can move, and then you score up points. In this grid, some tiles have been mixed in that represent the frogs themselves, the players. And so the first thing you'll do is you'll put your frog on the matching symbol out here. As you can see, this one here is this frog, so we'll put that token there. And we will do the same thing with all of the other frogs. So let's see, this one is here, and this one is here, and this one is right there. All right, and now we pick a starting player, and they are off to the races. So I'll just start up here, and we'll work our way around the board. So on your turn, what you are going to be doing is one of 2 things. You can move your frog, and the tile you're on tells you how you may move. Once you move off of that tile, you take this one and keep it and score it at the end of the game. The starting tile, by the way, can be treated as a wild tile. Or, second option, you can use one of your 2 special tiles. Okay, so that's it. You move or you play one of these tiles. If you cannot move or cannot play one of these tiles, then you're done, and eventually everybody will have to pass. Game's over. The starting tile here lets you go pretty much anywhere around where you are. But after that, and so let's say I'm going to go here, and then I take this one, remove it from the board. It's now in my pool. Now this character will go, etc. But after that, after everyone's moved off of their starting tile, then the tile you're on limits your movement options and tells you exactly how you must move. So, for example, let's take a look at this one here. This tile here tells you across the bottom there in blue that if you are on one of the white spots, you can move to the other one. So, as we see here, there's an L shape with 2 white spots and then in the corner a black dot. That means if this character, let's pick someone else. If this character is sitting on this tile here, then they may move this way. But you can always, of course, rotate this. So now I could move this way, or you could rotate it yet again, and I could move this way here. Whoops, to that tile there, or rotate it one more time and move this way. All right, so you're starting on one white dot, you're ending on the other one. How you rotate this tile is up to you. You can do so freely. So that's basically movement in the game. So this player will go, they're going to go here, they'll take their own tile. This player is going to go, they're going to go here, they'll take, this should have been on their starting tile. Where is their starting tile? Oh, this guy already moved. This guy here, I just switched him. This guy here is going to move, he's going to go here. There we go. And this character here is going to go, he's going to go there. And now back up here to the starting player, I am looking at this tile here, so I can go over empty spots. This movement is sort of like a bit of a rook move, And so I'm going to go over and over and over here. I could do that. I can go over the empty spots. That's okay. That's allowed. Or I can, of course, rotate this and say move here. I could do that. And ideally, you want a lot of the same kind of critter because, well, the scoring is beneficial that way. And so, I'm going to do this, like I said first, and then take that. And pretty soon, as you can see, the board is going to start to become fragmented. This character is going to move here. And now this one jumps in a straight line, skipping 2 spaces, so I could not go here, because I would land right on this character. I could skip these 2 and then down here, and I cannot do it this way. I could go skip these 2 and end up here. So I only have really 2 options. I'm going to go ahead and do that one, and so on. Very quickly, this board becomes fragmented. The special tiles themselves, there are only 3 different ones. Here we have the egg tile, which allows you to switch one of your own captured tiles for another one on the board. Here we have the tongue tile, which allows you to target another player's tile of your choice, and then that tile becomes yours. You're stealing a tile. And then we have the fish one, which some other player certainly has. There we go. And that one allows you to, again, target somebody else's token, but that one is simply eliminated instead of being taken over. So that's it. Continue playing until you have used up all your possible moves, and then you can score according to the chart that I'm showing you here on the screen. Most points at the end of the game, of course, is the winner of Frog Menu. I think my favorite thing about this little game is the simplicity of the design. It's a game that is, it's a very unassuming little package, but it works well, and it has a nice clarity of design in which the choices, while not abundant and certainly not convoluted, are clever and do lead to some interesting choices, especially when it comes to about halfway through the game. You start to realize that if you make certain moves, it's going to be harder for you to then climb back out of, say, a corner that is starting to fragment on the board. And so you need to be careful about balancing getting the thing you want versus getting your frog stranded out there and then, being done, not being able to grab more stuff. So the design itself, I think, is clever. Now, I don't like everything about it. I don't like the special tiles. I did not find very interesting. For one thing, one of the tiles is clearly a worse version than another one, and I don't like that they're random. So I could literally get better special actions than you get. And I don't like that. There's no reason why those couldn't have been balanced or at least different, One is I take a tile from you, and the other one is I take a tile from you and discard it. Don't like that. Perhaps starting with, one of each or something like that would have been a better idea. I think I like that better, but ultimately, just not that interesting. The board is the really cool part, and that's the interesting concept there. Another thing I'm not super thrilled about is the fact that the game, I wish, came with a board. It's not a huge deal, and when I got the game, I got this at Essen this past year. They did give you a board there, just a cardboard printout. But of course, it was something considerably larger than the little box, and it didn't fold up or anything, and it barely survived the trip home with me. So putting the tiles out on the board in the way it goes works fine, but it's a little bit harder to judge how many spaces there are later on in the game once it starts to really empty out. Construction is fairly cheap, but it's from a small company, so those sort of things I can understand. And the artwork is okay enough. It's nothing to write home about. But the cleverness in the design I am a fan of, and I think this is an interesting little game. Now, this is something that I wouldn't necessarily tell you to rush out and try to find it now, but it's the kind of game I could see being reprinted, perhaps by a bigger company, prettied up a little bit, cleaned up, maybe have a board included, and then I would say yes, check this game out. Again, I still wouldn't like those special tiles unless they change something like that. But as it is now, it's a borderline recommendation. I think the game's fine. It's just not something that's going to jump to the forefront for me against games of a similar ilk. I'm thinking, of course, of games like Hey, That's My Fish. That style of sort of placement and puzzly jumping around kind of games. But it's a neat design, and so Frog Menu, from a small company, I can certainly say they're doing something right, and I think they're heading in the right direction. So there you have it, Frog Menu. Neat little simple game about being froggies. Ribbit!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.